Yo, welcome to another episode of Simply Ball Drop Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K Sap. And today, man, we got a great show lined up for you guys. Once you come across the video, make sure you share it out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you turn your post notifications on so every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger on this channel. We cover sports, hot topics, roundtable talk, and the marriage chronicles. If this is your first time coming across the platform, please hit the subscribe button. I see everybody in the comment section, hashtag salute. And you guys know what my mantra is. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Might not be for you, but it might be for them. But today's show, man, it's wild. It's wild in mainstream media. It's getting wild. Mainstream media is almost like rappers going back and forth battling. Every other day, it's some new audio coming out about different media outlets and personnels giving their intake and real reasons why said so was let go for particular shows and not being able to appear on different shows and things like that. Well, today, Marcellus Wiley's, man, he's one of the, well-respected guys in social media. And when he was a broadcaster, he played the sport. He played, football for the San Diego Chargers at the time. He was bounced around. But Marcellus Wiley's is highly respected in the media. He has his podcast that he's doing real well on. And certain cats, was trying to come at Marcellus Wiley's. And when Marcellus Wiley's gives his feedback, a lot of cats, they just stand down. But now, how Marcellus Wiley's, he came to the defense of Max Kellerman when he got let go from ESPN. He just shed some light on it, speaking his truths, gave his opinions, which was real respected. And, Stephen A. Smith kind of stood down. He didn't really fire back at Marcellus Wiley's because Marcellus Wiley's, he goes on his platform and he gives his opinion, but he's well respected and he don't try to, belittle nobody. He just tells, the truth from what he sees because he's worked in the industry and he's worked with, the certain individuals that are involved in certain things. So now he has dropped some intel on Skip Bayless and Jalen Rose. Now, if you guys remember back in 2012 on ESPN First Take when, Skip was the host, and he had Jalen Rose on there. And, things went south and Jalen Rose was challenging him and things like that. And the producer at the time, Jay Crawford, he said some things about that particular interview. And this is what Jay Crawford said about that certain incident. Skip Bayless and Jalen Rose had one of the most famous incidents on First Take over a decade ago when the NBA veteran jabbed at the sports debate host for averaging 1.4 points per game during his senior year of high school. The awkward encounter led to Rose getting banned from becoming a guest on the ESPN debate show, according to former First Take host Jay Crawford, who spoke on the Awful Announcing podcast on October the 25th. So, he ran the show, and that was basically his intel on that. Basically saying Skip got Jalen Rose banned from ESPN coming back and being a host on ESPN First Take. So now Marcellus Wiley's has chimed in, and he said some things about it. And basically Marcellus Wiley's said Skip got, Jalen Rose banned from ESPN First Take. But we're going to play a clip of the incident between Jalen Rose and Skip Bayless, which aired in 2012. And here's just a little sound bite.
Jalen, what were you?
Where were you? Did you
Did
you average 1.4 points as a senior in high school?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so all of that Pistol P stuff, Water Pistol Pete Jr.
Okay, we'll address that later. We're going to.
Don't ignore that. Did you play junior?
Yeah.
Did you play JV as a junior?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So I follow
What were you?
Okay.
What were you? What was your position?
I have no position.
You were a point guard.
I have no game.
So that's what Jalen Rose and Skip was arguing back and forth about, Skip Bayless's career, because Skip Bayless kind of challenged Jalen Rose on a Pistol Pete analogy. And that's why you heard in the soundbite, Jalen Rose said, water Pistol Pete. But we'll take it a step further. Now, Marcellus Wiley has chimed in on that. And basically, Marcellus Wiley is exposing Skip, but he's exposing him in a good way, if I must say. Basically says outside of work, Skip is a great guy. But if you notice, Skip gets into it with a lot of athletes that challenge Skip on some of the things he says about their personal jabs that Skip be taking toward these athletes. You notice the incident between him and Jalen Rose, Richard Sherman. There's an incident out there with him and Chris Carter. And, Chris Carter hasn't been back on the airways in a while, himself. So, it seems like everybody that challenges Skip Bayless, they move away from Skip Bayless. They either lose their job or go to a different network. And, we'll say that because look what happened to Shannon Sharp, was with Fox Undisputed for 7 years. The disrespect he couldn't take no more. Now he's with ESPN. But Marcellus Wiley's chimed in and he had some things to say. And he's basically exposing Skip for the things that he does and the things that, gets guys not coming back to the show. So let's take a listen to what Marcellus Wiley's had to say on his podcast.
I'm gonna clown you. We good, right? Why you getting all mad? Why your feathers all ruffled? What's wrong with you? Fix your face, fool. Right? And Skip over there in his feelings. But what's also amazing is I forgot about the Chris Carter incident. And Skip done pulled that Shannon trick before. Because he like, this ain't a Shannon trick. This is a Skip trick. Skip like, I don't care what you've done. So that's what's weird about this. Like the blurred lines of what's personal and what's not. We're going to talk through this, right? So the tension between Skip and Jalen rose to the point where it resulted in Rose being persona non grata. Basically, that means your ass ain't welcome here no more. And I told you guys that a long time ago about Skip Bayless before. Now, what I said before is no one would go at Skip because they were scared they would never go back on Skip's show. He had everybody out there shook like that. Just the way it was, right? I'm talking about all these guest hosts and analysts and all that stuff. Like, because, he go in on Twitter, he go in on the show, and cats wouldn't clown him. I didn't live in that world because, like, if you guys watch me over the years, I take shots at everybody, but nobody cared because I was like the fun guy or the teddy bear or the shots wasn't mattering. I don't know, but I never wanted to go on Skip's show anyway, so it was like no problem. But people who did want to go in there, oh, they never said a word. You ain't got to say a word. They didn't. They were shook. But let's give him his flowers too, because Skip is not the same Skip on air as he is off air. Even Jay Crawford talked about it. He said there's a huge contrast. He said the Skip Bayless you see on TV is completely different than the Skip Bayless you see in real life. Quiet, kind, thoughtful, considerate, a good guy, a really good guy. And I echo everything he just said, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation point. Skip is a cool dude. Y'all know I call him Bubble. He's a bubble. He's just like he's just nice, just the way he is. And I know y'all don't get it because y'all don't get to see that side. But let's talk about the side you do see. And this is my problem with Skip. Problem with Skip is you can't keep the same energy. Like that insecurity or that like you get all rattled and stuff when somebody's just like, no, I'm talking about you. You talking about them, I'm talking about you. But then he's acting like, I'm not talking personally about them. And then you're like, well, I'm not talking personally about you. I'm talking about some of the things you've done. And then I don't understand why that doesn't just continue in conversation. It always gets hijacked by, you're taking a shot at me. Are you projecting because you're admitting then you're taking a shot at him? Because I'm just telling you what you've done. And you're telling me what he did or didn't do. Any questions? So when cats come back at these hosts, analysts, whatever it may be, I don't know why
Yeah, Marcellus Wiley said a lot there. Basically, what he's saying is a lot of cats did not want to go on Skip's show because of the fact that they couldn't go at him. You know what I'm saying? It was a thin line between some of the things that they had to say, and they had to hold back. And that's basically what Marcellus Wiley was saying about Max Kellerman with Stephen A. Smith. Max wasn't being Max, and he noticed that. Now, he also said that, you know, basically he got Jalen Rose banned from ESPN First Take, not coming back on the show. And then also he said in that same soliloquy that, you know, Skip was a great guy off the air. But when it came to that show, he would take personal jabs. And when somebody comes back at him, he would get all caught up in bunches and, you know, get his antennas up, and he would really go off. And the producers of the show, they saw that. So, you know, Jay Crawford, when he was producing the show, one of the hosts, he was basically saying that's how Skip does. And that's what basically Marcellus Wiley is exposing Skip for, is because he's getting these guys that are coming on the show, and as soon as they go at him, Skip is, I guess, going back door and, you know, telling the producers and stuff, we can't have these particular people back on the show. So it's no secret how, you know, Skip runs his operation, and there's no secret on the guys that he gets, but you got to keep a close eye on what's going on Undisputed now and see how long them guys are going to be on there, because they are challenging Skip, but Skip hasn't really took no personal shots. After all the personal shots was took, like with Jalen Rose back in 2012, Jalen Rose came back on there, did a whole segment with him, like they cleared the air. The same thing with Richard Sherman. He cleared the air. And, you know, when the new Undisputed took off this year, you know, they cleared the air as well. But, you know, Wiley's is basically, you know, exposing Skip for who he is, man. Getting these cats ran up out of business. You thought Stephen A was bad, but hey, we got to keep an eye on Skip Bayless. So you guys let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. Pin your comments down there, man. Share the video out, run these likes up, continue supporting the channel. And that's going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap, and we're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
Another one.